Hey everybody. For those of you who aren't familiar with this series, this is where I take a game that I'm currently playing and try to explain to you in 10 minutes or less why it's awesome. Today I have a very special game that I'm very excited to be showing to you folks, as it is the sequel to one of my favorite games of 2016, which has just been recently released onto early access via Steam. I'm of course referring to Half Dead 2. For those of you who aren't familiar with the concept behind this game, it basically involves being placed in a series of futuristic rooms containing a variety of potentially deadly and treacherous traps. The objective being to reach a predetermined randomly positioned exit point, using only your intellect, cunning, and a handful of rudimentary survival items. Now, if that premise sounds at all familiar to you, and particularly if you're not already familiar with the previous game, you may find Half Dead and its sequel quite reminiscent of the now classic horror film Cube, wherein a group of seemingly random strangers found themselves in the midst of a diabolical puzzle maze of death of their own. While it's always seemed quite apparent to me that the developers of Half Dead were clearly influenced, at least to some extent, by the Cube movies, the game and its sequel definitely have their own unique attributes and characteristics and style that help to give them their own identity beyond that obvious reference. As one might expect from a sequel to a game, Half Dead 2 sports an impressive list of enhancements and improvements beyond what the original game offered, such as mazes spanning multiple floors, a plethora of new trap and room designs, additional utility items including those used for healing and triggering traps, and a variety of melee weapons for use in the game's new PvP-focused mode, which supports up to 16 players in the same environment. There are a handful of things about Half Dead 2 that I'm not necessarily in love with, one of which being the somewhat finicky and precise orientation often required to pick up items, especially those laying directly on the ground. The fact that party sizes for multiplayer matchmaking are limited to 4, even when setting up custom co-op games. And I have come across a few occasional minor technical issues with regard to clipping, animation transitions, and camera positioning, particularly when spectating other players. But these are all extremely minor quibbles in the grand scheme of things, and I definitely have to say that I'm completely impressed with how solid and fun and engaging Half Dead 2 is as an experience for being in its initial early access release. The foundation that these folks have created with this game is certainly nothing to sneeze at, and I can absolutely see Half Dead 2 maturing into an even more compelling, exciting, and worthwhile experience as time passes. For the $5 being asked for this game, and the even smaller price tag for owners of the original, I would say that Half Dead 2 is a game that just about anyone should consider adding to their library. To me, one of the most impressive things about this game is how well designed and well scoped it is. The developers clearly took all of the feedback that they received on the first game to heart and are in the process of applying just about every feature one could have hoped for or wished for into the sequel. They've also designed and executed on this project in a refreshingly realistic and satisfying way. From the user interface to the core mechanics, to the cosmetic unlock system, to the enhanced mechanics that go above and beyond the expectations created by the previous game, Half Dead 2 is a title that's really just knocking it out of the park as far as I'm concerned on so many different levels, and I really can't recommend it highly enough. Based on the time that I've spent with it thus far, this game is awesome. Having said all that, I'm going to bring this video to a close. Hopefully you folks have enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to hit that like button. If you'd like to see more videos from me in the future, be sure to hit subscribe, and I will see you next time.